Good morning everyone, this is Kamikawa Kaolin. This time I will answer Curry 3 Momo's request. You are the largest anti-Japanese organization in South Korea, also known as a cyber-terrorist group. Do you know the existence of VANK? Intelligence agencies around the world are watching now. It is the influence operation itself. The fact that Japan has been exposed to the threat for many years is the Japanese know very little. Abnormal anti-Japanese work, information manipulation, fake news, anti-Japanese organization, VANK, that can be said to be a cult group that has existed in Korea for 20 years and is still active every day. Please see the poster produced by VANK posted on the construction site of the Japanese embassy on January 6, 2020. What is influence operation? By sending so-called information manipulation and fake news, it refers to the act of performing an impression operation on a hostile nation, an opponent's camp, or a government. Influence operations are not new, but advances in IT have rapidly become an influential military and political method. It is becoming a security threat that sometimes upsets politics and the economy and puts the nation in jeopardy. According to the U.S. Senate Information Committee report released in October 2019, intervened in the 2016 U.S. presidential election and was charged by a U.S. grand jury in February 2018. Russian Internet Research Agency IRA. The activity has been activated again. Posts have increased by about 200% on Instagram and about 50% on Twitter and YouTube. There is growing concern about intervention in the 2020 U.S. presidential election. An organization that has been doing exactly the same thing in Japan for many years. It is an organization called VANK, Voluntary Agency Network of Korea, in South Korea. VANK is a self-proclaimed, private diplomatic mission, established by Captain Park Kite on January 1, 1999. Members are mainly junior high school and high school students. In 2017, it has 150,000 members as of March 29, 2017. VANK aims to train 200,000 cyber diplomats. We are implementing the PR Korea 200,000 project campaign. The ostensibly activity is first, use social networking services SNS to build friendships with foreigners, to increase my friend's country, and establish a brand as a Korean nation. Second, find and correct any mistakes in the description of South Korea found on foreign websites and books. Third, raising awareness of foreign history and culture among middle and high school members. It is said that it is aiming for. If one citizen makes 5 pen friends, the pen friend tells 5 friends about Korea again. It is an attempt to spread South Korea's claim through grassroots activities. The VANK guidelines for members are the solicitation manuals for religious groups. Remove prejudice against foreigners and open your mind. And interested in the country as a friend, entering from the topic of everyday personal experience such as, I recently attended a Korean wedding, using Korean music and food photos and videos. We have to promote South Korea to foreigners. Members should not overemphasize that it is a Korean promotion. It is also warned that instead of unilaterally promoting South Korea first, he builds human intimacy, and teaches that, you need to listen to your friends. And we will develop anti-Japanese activities day and night all over the world. We even produce stamps and coins. Each member makes a pen friend overseas. What are you doing after you get into a foreigner? That is the true purpose of VANK. What you are actually doing is inform of Japan's historical distortion and destroy Japan's position in the international community. We are developing the Discount Japan campaign. The comfort women and so-called recruitment issues, the rising sun flag, the Takeshima territorial dispute, the name Sea of Japan. We are trying to isolate Japan from the world by doing our best to slander Japan. It is said that there are now more than 20,000 foreigners inspired by these claims. Anti-Japanese activities are being carried out day and night all over the world. According to VANK officials, the world map that correctly describes Tokai was only 3% in 1999, it expanded to 29% in 2015. Including the U.S. World Map Book, World Atlas, National Geographic, Lonely Planet, Yahoo, etc. Adopted the Tokai notation. The original name of Dokdo gradually became known. 24 companies including Microsoft in the US and map production companies in Europe corrected Dokdo as Korean territory instead of Japanese territory. A total of 462 cases, including history and culture-related mistakes, have been corrected by VANK's efforts. Yonhap News Agency, February 18, 2015. Recently, in October 2019, introducing the Korean War on the Australian veterans-related site, Bank discovered that it was written as Sea of Japan. Due to a fierce protest, it has been revised to be listed as Sea of Japan Tokai. BANK's activity funds are donations from members and sales of goods. Donations can be made from the Bank website. Starting from 3,000 won, about 280 yen, even elementary school students can pay. By the way, this amount of 3,000 won is called the amount of one brick. Originally the Independence Hall in Cheonan, Cheongcheongnam-do, completed in 1987, is the slogan of the fundraising movement that took place during the construction of the government, and Korean media widely promoted the significance of building the Independence Hall. It is also a symbol of patriotism in which teachers from all over Korea repeatedly asked students to donate. The products that Bank sells as activity funds include their Arkan badges, clear files, postcards, etc. In June of last year, a passport cover with illustrations of Takeshima, Dokdo, and the Sea of Japan, East Sea, it was released for 14,500 won, about 1,360 yen. Although they call it a private diplomatic mission, these ostensible funds alone cannot cover the cost of activities. The reality is that it is a public organization that receives financial support from the government. Until 2009, the Public Academy of Korean Studies provided financial support. In 2008, when Lee Myung-bak became president, allocate a budget of 50 million won to Bank under the direct direction of the president. Since 2009, we have also received financial support from the Northeast Asian History Foundation. The policy of the Korean government is, even if the administration changes with Lee Myung-bak, Park Geun-hye, and Moon Jae-in, it is consistent. The Korean government is not the only financial aid. A typical example is the parent company of the chat tool, Line, which is overwhelmingly supported by Japanese people. Naver Corporation provides financial support. Ironically, the more Japanese people use Line, the more the Comfort Women issue and the Takeshima territorial issue are disseminated as false information all over the world. In 2008, it was confirmed that Naver donated 100 million won. By the way, the operation of sites such as blogs on the Internet of Bank neighbors are undertaking. In addition, it is a manufacturer of Jinro, which is famous for Korean shochu. It is also known that Hite Jinro Co., Limited is providing financial support. In 2009, Cyber Dojima Military School was established with the financial support of Hite Jinro. What is Cyber Dojima Officer School? This is a joint project between Bank and Gyeongsangbuk-do, an administrative district. Implemented systematic education for Dokdo Takeshima, Japan, for elementary, junior high and high school students. It is an educational institution that allows you to submit reports online. The position of South Korea on Dokdo's sovereignty is, Dokdo is a clear Korean territory. Therefore, there is no reason or plan to go to the International Court of Justice, ICJ, instead of the conflict area, that is. As an aside, as long as I insist that South Korea is not a conflict area, for Japan, just as China does to the Senkaku Islands, flying private drones over Takeshima and conducting frequent undersea surveys, shouldn't we build a track record of being in a conflict area? Now, among some younger generations in South Korea, there is growing public opinion that the ICJ should be resolved in accordance with international law. The Korean government, which is wary of such public opinion formation, is not limited to Cyber Dokdo Military School. We are focusing on thoroughly conducting Dokdo education from among elementary school students. As a result of the Korean government's anti-Japanese education, in 2013, a Korean cram school. According to the Disliked Country Questionnaire, conducted on 618 elementary school students in South Korea, 530 people, or 86%, answered that they were in Japan. The reason is that 67% insist that Dokdo is their territory. I answered. In addition, as VANK's anti-Japanese education business, the Rising Sun flag is the same as the Nazi swastika, and the recruiter is the same as Auschwitz. Lectures are held nationwide every year. The relationship between Vank and the Korean government is not limited to financial aspects. Park Kite, from successive administrations, he has been given the positions of Seoul Public Relations Ambassador and mentor member of the Youth Committee, which reports directly to the president. In addition, big politicians such as Ban Ki-moon, who served as Secretary General of the United Nations until December 2016, became involved. Vank is expanding its power and strengthening its political influence. Vank will be in 2013. We are developing a campaign against the bid for the Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics. Japan, which has no remorse for war crimes, is not eligible to host the Olympics. As a result, a letter against Tokyo Ori Para was sent to the International Olympic Committee, IOC, and we also send to major overseas media such as CNN and the New York Times. On the U.S. government petition site, we have carried out a signing activity to stop Tokyo Ori Para. Japan is contaminated with the radioactivity of 1,000 atomic bombs, by Vank. A completely false rumor was swept away, as if to respond to it. The Korean government on September 6, 2013 Japan time, the day before Tokyo was decided to host the 2020 Olympics and Paralympics, announced that it will completely ban the import of marine products from each prefecture on the Pacific side of the Tohoku and Kanto regions. Even now, while President Moon Jae-in's anti-Japan continues, conducted by Real Meter, a Korean pollster agency, in August 2019 according to the results of a poll on the boycott of Tokyo Ori Para, 68.9% said, "Athletes' safety is our top priority, so we should boycott the Olympics if there are no additional safety measures." The aggregated result is out. In fact, 7 out of 10 Koreans are in favor of boycott. VANK's movement against Tokyo Ori Para is becoming more and more abnormal in 2020. On January 6, on the fence temporarily built on the new site of the Japanese embassy in Jongno-gu, a poster is attached to instill the image that Tokyo Ori Para is radioactively contaminated. The Olympic torch relay the poster, which has been replaced with the radioactive material transportation scene, gives a strong impression. This poster, Vank in the near future, we will send it to the Tokyo Organizing Committee of the Ori Para competition, TOCOG, and it is said that it will be officially distributed on the net. He said he planned to expand posters both on and offline until the start of July. Captain Park Kite, I made a parody poster to pray for the safety of both the Tokyo Olympics and the participating athletes and spectators. It explains. Data center in San Francisco, USA, March 1, 2010, the server of Pacific Internet Exchange (PI), due to a large amount of access from bots whose main source is South Korea, an incident occurred that went down. A bot is a computer infected with a virus. It refers to the mechanism of cyber attacks that automatically repeat access to the target server. From hundreds of small-scale PCs and tens of thousands of large-scale PCs infected with the virus by making the targeted server issue an access request, it causes the server to malfunction. PI was on March 5 of the same year assuming that this attack cost more than $2.5 million, 270 million yen. We have announced that we have filed a damage report with the Federal Bureau of Investigation (FBI). Since then, the attack has subsided. Actually, this attack was a skating competition at the Vancouver 2010 Olympic Winter Games. For the scoring of Korean Kim Yuna written on the Japanese bulletin board site, 2 channel, the purpose was retaliation for doubt. The fact that the 2-channel server is installed in the United States because many Koreans who participated in the attack did not know it has attacked the United States. The information that the FBI, which has sufficient investigative ability against cyber attacks, has launched an investigation, it can be inferred that the attack spread in South Korea in a blink of an eye and the attack subsided. It is also noticeable that the investigative ability of Japanese investigative agencies at that time was seen as low. It can be said that it is an advantage to put the server in the United States. The results of the FBI investigation have not been released. Vank led this attack, the Chosun Ilbo, July 2, 2010, reports. It will be 21 years since 2020 was established. Junior high and high school students who received anti-Japanese education by bank at that time are now fine adults. And including graduates of Cyber Dokjima Officer School, it seems that the cyber attack skills of bank members have also improved dramatically. Moreover, the reality of expanding the network all over the world is there is no doubt that it is a threat to us Japanese. The idea of utilizing citizens as public diplomats is not unique to bank. The Israeli government's peer-to-peer diplomacy program is one of them. By educating and utilizing the diaspora, Jews who moved to places other than Palestine, focusing on activities to create foreigners who are friendly to Israel, etc. It is not uncommon for countries to utilize their citizens as public diplomats. However, in a country like the South Korean government, which has been relentlessly anti-Japanese to this day, it is unique in the world. It is an undeniable fact that bank exists behind the Korean government. As long as bank exists, the attitude of the Korean government will not change. Diplomatic aspects are not the only threat to these influence operations. As seen in Russia's interference with the 2016 US presidential election, use SNS to guide domestic public opinion and broadcast fake news with videos. It is expected that such things will become more and more popular in the future. In the case of the Russian IRA company introduced earlier, using social security numbers and birthday information illegally obtained in the United States, obtain an account for the online payment service, PayPal, and impersonate a real red stranger, spread fake news on SNS. I was uploading political advertisements on social media. As the threat of influence operations continues to grow, I have to say that Japan's countermeasures are too vulnerable. Finally, the words of an old lady who lived on the peninsula before the war included the following words: Koreans lie. Chinese people were still better. This word is from a Japanese who was surprised at the lie when he came into contact with Koreans at the annexation of Korea. I think it's a word from the bottom of my heart. However, they don't feel like they are lying. For myself, to survive, it is said that the idea that it is natural to insist that it is not true is ingrained. Those who come into contact with them must remember this word. That's all.